My name is French Thompson. My business is 7148 East Main Street. I opened up my business in 1997, at the very first of the year, and so I've been down on Main Street ever since then. And over a period of time, I started noticing every spring training season that we were getting more and more people parking on Main Street and all in front of all the businesses. So I went back and did a little bit of history research with Google Earth. So if you can imagine my surprise and the Giant Stadium parking. Next slide, please. So if you look right here, just to the east of the stadium, that whole count is 700 parking places in 2005. Next slide, please. Now, in November of 2005, there's only 178 parking places. So all these other parking places have been removed. Next slide, please. So now you get into 2019, and there's only 100 parking places left out of 700 parking places. Next slide, please. Now you get in the convention center building has been there, so actually the stadium only has 50 parking places where there used to be 700. Now, a lot of time and money has been spent putting the practice fields in there and everything, and even over a period of time, all of a sudden they bumped it up where they're getting more people there. Next slide, please. So if you look at this, this is what it used to look like. Next slide, please. So these are numbers from the city parking study. On the Sagebrush Theater, we're still 177 less parking places than used to exist back in 1972. If you look down the bottom, the Giant Stadium parking, we're missing 600 parking places down there. If you notice on this graph, there was 1,041 parking places in 2005, and there's 1,041 parking places now. Next slide, please. So they spent all this money, making the Giant Stadium a better place. They're making, the city spent a lot of money putting in the Civic Center Plaza. Next slide, please. So this is basically what the city spent. $30 million on the Civic Center Plaza, roughly $60 million on the stadium, just to bring more people, have more events. But really, between 2005 and present day, not a single city-owned parking space has been built. Next slide, please. These are projected parking spaces: Museum Square, Sagebrush Theater, the Artisan. But none of these parking places exist today, and there is no guarantee that any of them, or for a timeline, that any of them are ever going to be built. There's no real guarantee. I mean, things could happen and they just don't get built. We just don't have that guarantee. So they don't exist. Whenever they're brought up, I'll just say they don't exist. Next slide, please. So the city spent all this money, $100 million, to bring more people to the downtown area around the Giant Stadium and Civic Center Plaza, but you have not provided any new parking for those people. So you really need to build the parking structure that was in the 2019 bond. You guys got the money for it, the taxpayers paid it, the money's there. So the honorable thing would really be fulfill your commitment to the voters and build the parking structure around Civic Center Plaza and the baseball stadium. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask Mr. Thompson? Yes. Thank you. I just had one really quick question, and then I'll let you go. Mr. Thompson, what would you say your opinion is the overriding sentiment of the downtown merchants as far as how the city is meeting their parking needs?
To be honest, I don't think anybody in the downtown business area thinks that the city's meeting their parking needs. I mean, when I moved in 1997, there was a parking shortage for peak season. So whenever the city would have events over the Civic Center Plaza on a Saturday or Sunday, all the overflow would come into our area. And so the people that used to come and park in front of our businesses and shop with us didn't have a place to park. So now that the baseball stadium has lost all of those parking places, they all come over on Main Street. So you can literally see them get out of their cars, walk over to the baseball stadium. When the game's over, they come back and get in their cars and drive off. So no, the merchants don't think that the city's, but the merchants did work with the city in that 2019 bond to get that parking structure on the bond issue, and the voters did vote for it, for South of Indian School to be for the stadium, for the Old Town merchants, and for the Civic Center Plaza.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Thank you, Mayor.